Welcome back to the Tech Lounge, episode 13, and I am joined by Kev from Tech Showdown. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Brian. I'm glad we got all this audio sorted, hopefully, now, after all the trouble we've been having lately. Seems like we've got it all sorted, though, so that's good.
Yeah, so basically what we're having a lot of issues over the last, last decade. With Kev's audio, so he returned the Blue Yeti and went and got a Razer. Is it a Razer Siren Pro? Yeah.
Yeah, Siren Pro. Yeah. So that's all good now. So and we've just been setting it up because we were having problems. So I was aware of it, and obviously, I wasn't too happy about it. And neither was Brian. So hopefully it's all sorted now.
Well, I mean, if people are tuning in if people are going to tune in for an hour to watch a live show, they deserve good audio, especially even compared to video. It's like I'd rather have better audio than video. Even if you were on a potato camera, I wouldn't care so much. So what's been going on, man, in the last week and a bit?
Not too much, just been busy with a few other things, but just getting through the videos. I did the Predator 17 laptop review, and that was quite interesting. The GTX 1070 in it is just such a huge step up over the 970M. It gets about double the FPS, even though they were running the same CPU, the 6700 HQ. So it's just crazy, like it's so good now with these new Pascal powered laptops. They're just so powerful.
Yeah.
Now the gaming laptops are really coming into their own.
Well, they're making that a trend, I think. They want people to buy more laptops.
Exactly.
Also there's people in the chat. No, we're not competing with Awesome Hardware. Sorry, I didn't actually, we didn't mean to do any of that. Basically, we were going to live stream on Monday, but my internet was out in the area. So there's a company called Telstra in Australia. They're renowned for being pretty bad. And so my internet was out on Sunday, it was out on Monday, and Kev had to disappear for a couple of days. So this is the earliest time we got to do the show. So unfortunately, it does overlap. But there's going to be an archive, of course. So won't hate you for going off and watching their show.
No, that's cool. I've just I see you guys saying that I'm a bit quiet, so I've just put up the volume by another 10%. So
well, it's actually,
that's sounding a bit better.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd rather him sound quiet than clip. So,
We've been having the clipping issue in the last few ones, but we did check before the show to make sure that everything was going correctly, so that we didn't start the show and be having problems. But hopefully that's sounding a bit better now.
You got to turn you up a little bit. That's what people are saying too. So
I did turn it up a bit.
So that's good. So we turn you up, we'll get you all sorted, and that's what we're going to get cracking. So in the last week as well, we got the Benchmark PC done. Just got the video out on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Me and my dad, he's wanting to have jokes a lot more, and that's the way his life is about. He was raised as he's a builder. He's all about having a laugh all the time. So you guys, when he comes on the channel, it's just all going to be about shenanigans and laughing, and that's definitely rubbed off on me. That's where the yes part of the channel comes from. It's the old man. So that's you can expect more of that coming on, because he's like, I want to come on videos, Brian. I want to come on your videos. I'm like, all right, let's do something. So we did the Yes Man's Overclocking Chamber of Secrets. That was real. And then we got the Benchmark PC. So the Benchmark PC's here. I had the 280X, man. It's like people like chuck it in the oven. I probably will try that. I've tried it on 2 different rigs already, so it's just it's the same. It's exhibiting this same problem on another PC as it is on that one. So it can't be the motherboard or anything like that, or the power supply or anything like that. So that card, I got hosed. See, and that's what I'm saying about used parts. It's not for everyone. Imagine if that was like you were on a budget, and this is the thing. Imagine if you were on a budget, and that was your only, like, $110 out of a $300 budget, and you got hosed. So that's why you can understand people buying new parts. So
exactly.
So we're gonna make it Snoop Dogg edition. That's it. That's what they're saying in the chat. We're gonna make that. We're gonna smoke it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, any new hardware coming in? Obviously the new mic, but anything else?
For me, yeah, I just picked up 2 things from Playtech, so I'll give you guys a sneak peek. Going to be testing out this guy soon. So this is the G533 from Logitech. So new pair of headphones. And the one a lot of people will be excited for is the Ducky Shine 6. So this I'll be doing very soon also. And this will be I've done every single Ducky Shine now.
Yeah.
Oh, since I started the channel, so pretty crazy. Great keyboards, absolutely love them. Let's see if the Shine 6 is.
But they what cherry switches do they have?
I believe I've got it with blues, which are my favorite, but
yeah,
I think you can get them with browns and reds, I believe, potentially blacks, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, well,
on that, I need to do a bit more research.
I think you're gonna see a lot more people wanting to source top race switches on their keyboards now, because they're unbelievable. I mean, they're coming into effect. They're real, they're real force. They're just such a good switch. So I hope to see something like that hitting the channel very soon, on maybe a different company other than a top rate keyboard. So hoping for one of those keyboards. And yeah, other than that, we've still got to get through that backlog. It's just been ridiculously hot. Like, even now it's 30 degrees, that's how bad it is in here. 30 degrees. I've got these blinds, just like the wind's coming in, so it is a little bit cool, but the blinds are just like yeah, like this is going to be the worst year for terms of weather and stuff. Other than that, the next place I move into is going to have aircon. Going to make sure it's all good and people can get the best content. So it's just coming back from Japan, a bit of a bad situation that I was in. Getting set up through the summer is obviously the hardest time, so especially for tech. Actually,
you're all like,
managing okay.
You're all sus now, so that's good. And I saw your D-Lid video, and that got a lot of views, man. People really liked watching that video. It's very interesting.
Well, the thing about that is that it's very hot, right? So it's extremely hot where I am at the moment. So when I get the results that I get, it's pretty much guaranteed for anyone else in the world. You're going to get results by de-lidding your chip. And the thing is, you're going to get them when you reach the max end of the chip. Like, for me, it was, I went from 4.9 to 5.1 stable. That's 200 megahertz gain. That's pretty damn freaking good. Now, in winter, I'm sure I could have maybe got 5 gigahertz without a de-lid. Because it would have cooled down 15 degrees or whatever. But this, in the summer, that's when you're going to test the, the extreme levels. And so I'm getting max 80 degrees in summer now on 5.1 gigahertz at 1.395 or 1.4 volt. It's really damn good. It's stable as well. Doesn't cut out, doesn't drop out. I just benchmarked all those games at 5.1 gigahertz in that benchmark rig video. That took me out as well, figuring out what was wrong with this graphics card. I mean, it's just problems after problems, but that's one thing that is a problem that you can solve. I just recommend getting a proper kit. Get a D-lid kit. Make sure you do it properly, because that PCB is so freaking thin on the. Like I would dare say it's. I don't even know. Could it even get any thinner than Skylake? Have they even used a bit of a cheaper material on the PCB? I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't believe so. Yeah, but
like when I de-lidded that thing, the Haswell, I remember de-lidding the Haswell chips, and they got a bit of weight to them. Like, the PCB has a little bit of weight. This time around, the Kaby Lake, you de-lid those things, you're like, wow, it's freaking like a feather. Like, that's how much it weighs, a feather. So that's how cheap the PCB's got. And then the thermal paste was bad too. So I don't, because they got it. Apparently they got it right. Apparently they got it right in the Haswell refresh. But then they went back to using cheap thermal paste again. This ain't computing with me. Something's not right here. So yeah, de-lidding that thing, I highly recommend it for anyone who's even remotely serious about getting the most out of their CPU, whether it be air cooling or water cooling. If you're running 24/7 stable overclocks on Kaby Lake, then you want to de-lid that thing, because you want to get more speeds, you want to get more stable temperatures out of the CPU. And the only way you're going to do that is to de-lid it. Of course, there are risks associated with it, but the tool is really going to take out the risk. Now, another thing about, someone sent me a forum about some guy using the same 3D printed tool that I used. And like, he put the thing on the wrong way and busted the back of the caps off the CPU. I think the resistors. Like I saw that when I was with the tool initially. I saw that with the tool. I'm like, no, you don't. You're not going to bang that because it's going to bust the freaking resistors off. Like,
my goodness.
I mean, the guy must have been tired or something. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I mean, if he like looked, he must have just missed that or something. But if you looked at that and you're like, okay, this is going to work, and then your resistors come flying off, then. And then he soldered it back on, and it was like he said it works. Like I really doubt that would still be working. Like, have you seen the thread? I should have pulled it up. It was just man, it was bad. Like I mean, if he got that thing to work again and legit, like he deserves a medal, because I don't know.
It's just sad that we're back here. Like after Devil's Canyon, everyone was like, "Oh, thank God," because Haswell ran so hot, and when Devil's Canyon came out, and they're like, "Oh, they fixed it." And then it's just like, Intel, why? You fixed this problem before, and now going back to it again.
Yeah.
It's just so self-defeating, it seems.
I mean, do they care about the desktop market? That's at the end of the day, do they care? They got to know that we're all socially
With Ryzen
linked in.
This close,
I know, and Ryzen this close.
Care.
Yeah, but I mean, like everyone's so wired in nowadays. You've got all these forums, you've got communities, you've got YouTube, you've got Twitter, Facebook. I mean, if there's a problem, people are going to know, like, pretty much within a day or 2 days. So,
exactly.
What are they thinking? They're going to get away with it? I don't know. So, yeah, that's really the big news is the D-lid. So we got that done. We got some topics up here. So do we want to move into the first topic here? So. Speaking of Intel, they're readying apparently a i7 7740K and an i5 7640K. Now, to tackle Ryzen chip, I don't understand this article because apparently it's going to tackle Ryzen chips, yet it's on the X299 platform, which, I mean, arguably a motherboard on that platform is going to cost a heap of money. So.
Yeah, so it's... this is what's strange. Yeah, the fact that it's going to be LGA 2066.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically the only main difference, it's the same architecture. There's no change there. It's just they're going to have the higher TDP and higher clock speeds, and the clock speeds aren't going to be dramatically higher from what it looks like. It's just going to be a bump up.
Yeah.
But obviously they don't know yet. How far the bump up will be, but so they're supposed to debut alongside the Skylake X processors, which a lot of people actually have been looking forward to on the X299 platform.
Yeah.
But this just, I don't know what Intel's thinking with this. Maybe they're thinking, I don't know, maybe if X299 is that big of a jump up, maybe people will go up to it, even if they're running one of these, I'll say lower CPUs. They'll jump up just for the platform upgrade. But
we've already had Wendell on the show. He's basically said, like, for a gamer, dual channel memory is all you need. Like, quad channel memory is useless for anyone gaming or even powered, like even remote, people with workstations and stuff. So what's the point of quad channel memory? I mean, sure there's extra PCIe lanes that from the chipset you're gonna gather those, but I'm trying to see the appeal here. We soldered it on. We soldered it on. But on that note of soldering the chip to the die, I would dare say one thing to come out of D-lidding is that even versus soldering, if you apply that Liquid Pro or whatever the metal paste you're using, if you apply that evenly and properly, I would dare say that it actually beats a soldering job too.
So I actually asked around about people D-lidding soldered on.
Yeah. Some people are doing it, man.
Yeah, and apparently it is not widely done, but it is done. What they do is they'll just overheat the CPU. Basically, they'll let it run at like 90 degrees for ages, 95 degrees, 99 degrees for a while. Take it straight out of the rig and then de-lid it while it's screaming hot like that. And you can. I'm not endorsing this by any means, but it seems that it is doable. But for the vast majority of you guys, I would not.
Oh yeah, well the risks are far greater. So but at the same time, you do get a stronger PCB. You do get a stronger PCB there.
You do.
So
yeah.
at least when you go full on berserker mode, hammering the thing off
Yeah,
or whatever, you're not going to damage the chip.
These new CPUs, it's just Intel right now. It seems like they're trying to flood the market because remember, this is what we spoke about a few weeks ago with the Pentiums overlapping now with the i3s, and it being kind of confusing for a lot of people out there that you have some of these Pentiums and i3s being very similar to each other in some ways.
Yeah.
And it seems like Intel's also going to be overlapping on the top end as well with these guys, with these Kaby like X ones. So it just seems like they're trying to flood the market. We will speak later in this episode about Ryzen's full lineup, and Ryzen does have a big lineup. So
it's huge.
For you guys out there, if you're in the market for a CPU, or you're going to be in the market in the next few months for a CPU,
definitely
you're going to have the biggest abundance of choice that I've ever seen in all the time I've been doing tech. I don't think at any point we've ever had this many, I'll put new CPUs coming out.
Consumer grade CPUs.
Yeah, consumer ones. Yeah, it's crazy. There's going to be so much choice at the mid tier, the low tier, and all the way up top as well. It's just going to be crazy. So yeah, for you guys out there, I mean, that's a very good thing for you guys because they're going to be fighting with each other in terms of pricing.
Freaking amazing, man! There's going to be so much fist pumping going on. There's going to be so much comparisons.
It's going to be real good.
Well, it's not just going to be good for the consumer. It's going to be good for us guys making content. There's going to be so many more questions.
We're going to have
heaps.
It's
going to be a hell of a time, yeah.
Heaps to do. So
and I mean, and Kev just got his new mic too, so he can give you those comparisons with a lot better audio now.
Yep. Exactly
Snap.
Right. Yeah, you're on to it.
All right, so we got the next article. So I'm pretty much done with that. I mean, I'm not going to be. Yeah. I don't think I could see myself recommending either of these CPUs if they come out to anyone. Late last month, AMD filed a lawsuit against 3 different companies here. So LG, MediaTek, 4 companies, Sigma Designs, and Vizio. So they filed 4 different companies apparently on patent infringement for their GPU technology. So this is actually a very detailed article, but the gist of it is that AMD, Samsung's currently paying them the licensing fee. These guys aren't, and that's not fair. And I mean, hey, this is the world we live in, right? They've got the IP, they've paid for the patent, they've made the idea up, they've made the architecture. In ways it's fair. Like if they are infringing on their patent, then you can't do it, and you get into any sort of idea, if someone's made that idea, you have to license it, you have to pay for it. You can't just copy it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Some people are calling this AMD being a patent troll, but I don't really see it in this regard. People tend to throw around that term in, when it doesn't actually apply, and I don't think this is a case where it really applies. It's a pretty cut and dry thing. It's
sophisticated architecture. The average person, I'd have no idea when it gets down to the core of an architecture how to design one of these things. I mean, this is extremely sophisticated tech and knowledge, and you put an IP on that instead of someone just taking years and years of work. I mean, it's different when we look at the shape of a phone, for example. I think that's a completely different thing. Someone in preschool can design a shape of a phone. I don't think that, for instance, I thought that was a stupid IP, the shape of a phone. There's something like apparently Samsung was copying Apple for the shape or something. So I think patents like that are kind of stupid.
That was stupid.
And I see
Apple's been a shocker for the patent trolling. They are actually. Yeah. They do troll sometimes with that stuff.
And that's it.
That's no doubt about it.
That's where a legit patent troll comes into question. This on the other hand, it looks like it's got legit grounds. So it'd be interesting to see how this turns out. And if Samsung are indeed paying the piper, then other companies should be paying the piper too, because that floats through into the final product's price, right? So
I mean, this is always going to happen. I think Elon Musk said it best: is like filing a patent is like getting a lottery ticket to a lawsuit. That this just the amount of times over the years in the news that you've read about different tech companies going at each other over patent infringements, for some legitimate and others not. In many cases, that was Apple being, trolling with it, but it's just, this stuff will never end. And it's only going to get worse in the future.
Yeah.
you can count on that. There's going to be more and more of this.
Oh yeah, you can count on it, guys.
Yeah.
You can count on it. It gets worse and worse. Apparently, there's more and more patents being filed every year too. So, yeah. It is going to get worse. So let's move on to Ryzen CPUs. Apparently, we have a bigger manifesto here with more of the model numbers, the SKUs, the details, the deets. Everyone wants the delo on the deets. And straight away, there's two that interest me here. The Ryzen R5 1500 and the Ryzen R5 Pro 1500. So they're both 6 cores, 12 threads. Okay, just going to highlight it. They're the ones that interest me, because apparently these CPUs are overclockable. They're all overclockable. AMD has said they're not going to lock the CPU side of things, but they will lock possibly the motherboard side of things with the A320 chipset. But with the was it the B350, that's going to be my pick for the motherboard, and coupled with the 6-core 12 thread, I really see this hitting hard if this 6-core 12 thread, you know, the entry level 6-core 12 thread is overclockable and the price is pretty good. So apparently it's going to compete with an i5 7500, so you could expect it around $200 and something, which is fantastic. I can't wait to get my hands on something like this. There's the 4-core 4 threads as well, which I think is a lot of people are interested in as well. The Ryzen R3 1200X, or even the R3 Pro 1100, the entry level with the B350 motherboard. I think they're the two CPUs that people are really getting excited about. Of course, the 4 cores 8 threads, it's still up in the air on how AMD's hyper-threading solution, their competitor, will perform in the real world. I think a lot of people want to see that. With the
exactly right. Yeah, no, for sure. And the fact that before the show we were talking about that there's no dual cores, quad core minimum. You know, there's the 4-core 4 threads, which I think is a fair minimum. Honestly, nowadays that should be the minimum. By now, that should be the minimum. And hopefully that's coming in at a very competitive price, their little R3 Pro 1100. So yeah, that's very good. Obviously the 4-core 8 threads will be better for in certain use case scenarios, but I think, and Brian's right here, the most interesting one for a lot of people is the 6-core 12 thread, being that those ones are looking to really take on the i5s, and that part of the market is usually, I would think, is quite strong, probably the strongest, the i5s. So because of their price point they come in at and everything else. I may not be correct there, but I do think that's a big one for a lot of people.
If this,
a lot of people don't need the i7s, and a lot of people want something a bit more grunty than an i3, so they settle on the i5. And if that's what they're going after, and it turns out it is very good at going after it, then yeah, these 6 cores are going to sell like crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If it's 6 cores, 12 threads, and the RPC is good, then this thing could potentially beat a 7700K too. So if it's coming in $100 something cheaper and you've got more performance, then what's there not to like about that? I mean, keep in mind though, a 7700K, for example, the one I got in the benchmark rig, I mean, that thing's scoring over 1100 in Cinebench. That is a pretty damn tough score for a 4-core 8-threaded CPU. So, you know, that, when people want that single core performance, I mean, I don't see that getting challenged too much when people want the absolute best single core, single thread performance. Still remains to be seen, of course, but still, I think the majority of gamers are going to take this up, especially the guys buying out RX 470s, buying RX 480s, GTX 1070s even. That real core group of value-orientated gamers is really going to take up the 6-core 12 thread and a B350. And you can even go, like, even if you guys are definitely jumping on Ryzen, if you're like, look, I'm sold, go pick up a cheap PCIe sound card. It's going to support PCIe. I'd much rather run a PCIe sound card over PCIe. So they're more stable, they're better. Go get a DG, not the DGX. Go buy them up cheap now before the B350 hits the shelves. So if you're sold on Ryzen already, go get yourself a sound card for it. I'd start with the DG. Zonar DG.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the first video I will be making, just so you guys know, now this is dependent on what I can get my hands on, and I have already made inquiries to be able to get my hands on them. will be the flagship, the R7 1800X,
Okay.
and I'll be doing a showdown against my 6900K. So that'll be the two 8 cores, Ryzen 8 core, Broadwell 8 core going up against each other, and obviously we'll be doing productivity and gaming, mostly productivity because they're kind of meant for that more so than gaming, I would say. And I think that will be very interesting, but it'll just depend what I can get my hands on. But that hopefully will be my first video. What do you think, Brian? Which Ryzen CPU do you think you'd test out first?
For me, it honestly it doesn't matter. I'm looking at the IPC. That's what and how well the hyperthreading performs. So as long as I get a hyperthreaded CPU, I don't really care because it's going to scale. Like when you're talking about the max theoretical performance of a CPU, you get a 4-core 8 thread. If it's performing such and such, then in a program that supports all those threads, the 8-core 16 is going to perform pretty much double. So it's up to, really, I don't care what I get my hands on, as long as I get my hands on that with the hyperthreading. I'd like to test the hyperthreading out too, see how well it performs. I mean, don't even know, what are they calling their hyperthreading technology anyway?
Well, hyperthreading is Intel's name, but I think most people will understand what you mean.
Yeah,
so
AM3. We'll just call it AT, Advanced Threading.
Well, it's just it's just
ATI.
Yeah. So,
Advanced Threading Interactive.
It is. Yeah, you're exactly right with scaling. Obviously, seeing the IPC will be interesting for sure, but the sheer power of having more cores and more threads is always going to be good. Not so much for gaming. There are specific games, obviously, that utilize the CPU multi-threading heavily, but mainly for productivity stuff, and that's why I'm very interested in the higher end one. Because if it's going up against the 6900K that like what I run, which is a nearly 2,000 New Zealand dollar CPU. I think they're dropped a little bit, but they're still about $1,800 here. If it's doing that for say $1,000 New Zealand, that's going to undercut it big time. Even if it is just a little bit slower, I mean, is it really going to? Are you really going to justify spending all that extra money on the 6900K when you can get these ones? And depending on the overclocking, which we've heard that flagship will get over 4 gigahertz, which should bring it quite competitive, because the 6900K you can get them to 4.3, but boy, after that they're just impossible to get any higher. Mine will only sit at 4.2. It'll do 4.3 barely, but they're not good overclockers. Broadwell, no one who's bought Broadwell was like buying it for the overclocking potential, because they're not.
Yeah, they're bad, man. The 5820K was better too, and then they're virtually the same, because you get the IPC improvements you gain, you lose in the overclocks on average. So I was pretty sad to see that. Broadwell wasn't good at all. I love the 5820K. That was like it still is the CPU to keep. It's an awesome CPU. But Ryzen coming out, people want to see the IPC, they want to see the thread counts, they want to see how the hyperthreading performs. That's going to be hitting the channel for sure. I can't wait to get that. Yeah. And then from there we can base, then for there you can logically say how well the price is going to perform for the money, what the price performance is going to be. So can't wait to do that. But I'm really laying out this 6-core 12 thread. It's looking like it's going to be the be all and end all of 2017. So, but then we got a leaked benchmark here from WCCF Tech, and it's kind of one of those things that I don't understand. Like, why this? Someone leaked a benchmark, and it's like crazy 4K, and you're looking at the CPU frame rate 70, 4K crazy again. Why are we testing 4K settings? It's completely. It's just like it's more than a tease. It's just dumb. I've got here a 4790K. Which is 4-core 8 thread, old as, that's scoring 63.5. So what do they want? Whoever's AMD fanboys posted up the wrong benchmark, because if anything, if we were to base it just off this benchmark, the 8-core 16 thread would be terrible. Just based off this benchmark here. So
are all those settings 100% the same though?
They're not. They're sure they wouldn't be, but still, it's just a dumb benchmark to be throwing out numbers with.
Yeah,
4K crazy.
Part, it says 00 on the
hey, look what...
Ryzen one.
I mean, yeah, it's like basically saying, hey, look what the Titan X can do. Okay, you know, probably do that.
Yeah, we know the Titan X is powerful. It's going to be the 1080 Ti will be the same power. So yeah, that's
what it can do.
I just think this is just, I don't know. I don't have anything to make of this. Whatever. I mean, you might be able to take away they're saying that it's going to be going up to 4 gigahertz on all cores. So again, that's good. If that's the max, then a 6900K will beat it slightly, which is kind of unbelievable to say that a 6900K actually will beat something in overclocking, because it's pathetic overclocker to begin with.
Yeah, but you gotta understand it is. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm not being too hard on the 6900K, because I love the CPU. It's super powerful. This thing does not muck around, and compared to its default speeds, that is quite good. But now that we're in the era of 5 gigahertz, that's more what I'm meaning. I'm not picking on it. I'm just saying, like, considering other CPUs, I mean
4.5 too, right? Yeah, 4.5, 4.6. So
yeah, 4.5, 4.6 and up. It is a little bit on the low side, but of course it's not made for the high clock speed. I am well aware that it's, they're made for productivity.
As long as it does, as long as these CPUs are hitting 4 gigahertz, though, I think at least, that'll be happy.
Oh, it'll still be powerful. Yeah,
for the majority of games.
4 gigahertz on 16 threads. Yeah.
So
it's not.
But yeah, so I told Kev I was going to pull this article up. He said he wasn't so we're moving on now to Final Fantasy 15. So you guys can get your questions ready too. We'll be answering them in about 10, maybe, 10 minutes. We got some questions from the forums as well. But Final Fantasy 15, Kev just completely shut down. He doesn't play any Final Fantasy. And I was like, what's up, man? You never played Final Fantasy 7? So
no, never played it.
Never played Final Fantasy 7?
No, I'm quite funny when it comes to games. Only sort of quite specific tastes. I'm basically stick to FPS mostly, but no, it's just nothing that's really interested me, to be perfectly honest. But what did you make of this article, anyways? Oh,
so basically, it's Final Fantasy 15. It's selling so well that they broke even for all their R&D and money put into the game in like the first day, apparently. So it's a huge success, and this hasn't even hit PC yet. And that was only the first day. So basically it's doing so well, you can expect Final Fantasy 16 to come out, I'm sure, based on these numbers and figures. Great. No real official word when it's hitting the PC yet, which is I'm sure a lot of people are looking for. So, I mean, when I spoke to the people at PAX, they were like, yeah, it's going to hit the PC like a couple of months later. But then they delayed the console release. So now it's words up in the air. When's this hitting the PC? So there must be some bugs. And again, this is one of those things where I would rather them release a game that's complete than an unoptimized piece of trash. So
yeah, exactly.
I agree. Take as much take as much time as you need, because I'd rather buy a polished game than a piece of shit. So that's just how many times, especially in 2016, we got so many games that just came out and people were like, oh god, this is bad. Was it that Mafia 3 or something? That was whatever it was. That was like one of the worst. We were like,
that had a lot of problems.
It's like, hey, I built this new gaming PC. I can't even play this thing, man.
Yeah.
This is just my PC. No, it's just the game. Don't worry, it's just the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, but yeah, it's going to hit the PC. Hopefully, hope it doesn't get cancelled. I'm going to close this website down because it's being bad. We got AOC now. AOC. Moving on to AOC. 21:9 monitor. They're going ultra wide, 35-inch. And apparently they're doing it 200 hertz. So there is one downside to that, and that is a 1080 high, the 1080p widescreen resolution on that, as opposed to the 1440p widescreen. So what would you rather? Would you rather the higher refresh rate, lower resolution, or the lower refresh rate, higher resolution? That's one of those.
Actually, my second, one of my most popular videos I ever made was just me talking about what I prefer, higher resolution or higher refresh rate, and I said higher resolution because I need it for my video editing and other things. It makes my life a lot easier. So Yeah, I was just thinking though, is it pronounced AOC or I always said AOC?
I just pronounce AOC. I mean, that's what, when I bought this.
Is
When
that
I
what people when
Yeah, I
you
mean,
talk to their
yeah,
people, is that
when
what
we
they
go
say they
like
call
to the
it?
computer stores and stuff, everyone just says AOC. Like, everyone just says
Oh,
it that
okay.
way. Like when around on the coast or Brisbane. I mean, look, it might be just a cultural thing. Yeah, again, these are just things that develop locally, and then someone tries to correct you, and you're like, who gives a shit? Like,
No, I'm just curious. You guys in chat, can you tell us
Yeah.
where you live? Do you pronounce it AOC or AOC or
I just pronounce it AOC. I
what
love
do
it.
you
It's
what
AOC,
do you put
baby.
it as?
AOC, AOC. Give it to me. Give it to me in the comments,
Yeah.
guys. AOC.
But yeah, this is the one thing. Well, I'll say AOC.
Yeah.
In the past that I've tested, their value for money has always been extremely good. You usually get a hell of a monitor for your money. This is looking pretty good. So 200 hertz refresh rate with adaptive sync. That's going to be really good. I'd say this is going to appeal to a lot of people out there. Now, you might knock it for being 1080, but obviously you're going to want the high frame rate to take advantage of the refresh rate there. So that's what I think is the reason behind it. You're definitely going to want something like a 1070 with this monitor anyway, just so you get those high frames.
It's going to be a
Or
tough
even
sell.
the
I'm going to
1080.
say, I'm going to straight away say it's going to be a tough sell, especially with the response time of 4 milliseconds versus 1. Like at 200 hertz, it's going to be a tough sell for this thing. I mean, me personally, much rather 100 hertz, 14 double, not double the resolution, but 1440p version. For me,
Yeah.
that would be the, I'm using it now. I absolutely love it. If I lowered the resolution on this thing, I'd be hating it. So even if you've got high refresh rates, I mean, 60 hertz versus 120 hertz, kind of like a different argument, but going from 100 to 200, damn, you're going to have some good eyes to see the difference, or appreciate the difference, and then at the cost of a lower resolution. So let me know in the comments what you guys would rather. Would you rather the 100 hertz 1440 version, 1440p version, or the 200 hertz 1080p version? I mean, personally, I love that 100 hertz. I think it's just a sweet spot for ultra wides. QD LED, baby. Oh yeah, let me go on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, damn. So that's the AOC monitor. Yeah, we've got here good news for the GPU market. Micron's new GDDR6 memory will release later this year. So we've got speeds reported of 16 gigabits per second, twice as fast as standard GDDR5 memory. Two times.
Yes. Yeah.
Two times. Okay, so we got 2 times. Got double there. So you're doubling up. Hopefully it comes in cheaper. I mean, initially it probably won't, but hopefully over time it comes in cheaper. And this will be a perfect solution for the mid-range graphics cards, I think. Like your 1070, your 480, 470, even your 1060. This is where it's going to be really hitting hard, because we will see HBM2 hitting those bigger cards, definitely. And that'll be a big selling point for those bigger cards, I'm sure. But for the mid-range, this is really going to where it's going to hit hard. Even maybe a higher-end card could for sure utilize this stuff.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
You would say so. So I mean, this is because we know that GDDR5X has, in theory, has the potential to go up to 16 gigabits per second anyways, but we didn't see that obviously with the GTX 1080. It was set at 10. So if this GDDR6 is 16 straight off the bat, they're not just saying it has a potential, it's going to be 16 straight off the bat, then that's a good jump up there, especially for people coming from a GPU with GDDR5. That is a very big jump up there, and GPU memory speeds matter a lot. Through all my testing, it's a very important thing that's often actually quite overlooked by quite a few people.
But it wasn't such a big jump. I was pretty disappointed in 5X because it wasn't that big of a jump. Well, you got 25% more speeds, 25%, because they were already bringing it up.
Yeah, it was a step up for sure, but it wasn't a leap like going from GDDR5 to say HBM.
Yeah, but I mean, people fanboyed the shit out of 5X. Like, it got fanboyed. It's got 5X on it, man. That's a selling point for the 1080. It's like, huh? It's like 25% faster memory. It doesn't even make a difference. Really.
Well, it does make a difference.
It does make a difference, but like frame times, if you were to underclock your memory, actually, that's a good benchmark. Underclocking your 1080's memory down to the slower speeds. And then just doing a frame comparison out of the box. Because, I mean, they clock pretty high. You don't get much overclocks out of them. Like, they clock on their own. They boost up to, like, 2 gigahertz. So, that'd be a really cool comparison. Like, downclocking the 5X memory to, like, 5 speeds. And then comparing the two. And seeing how much of a difference it makes. Did we all get conned by marketing? Did we get done?
Right. Yeah, so, yeah.
Did you get done out of your hard-earned, Kev? Did you?
Nah, I like my 1080. It's a great crowd.
We want answers, damn it, and we want them now. So all you got to do, I'll proposition this. I'll make a proposition for you. Just send me over your 1080, and I'll do the testing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah.
I was just reading in the
I'll
chat.
do the test for anyone. Just send me over a 1080. I'll do the test for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just it's interesting in the are you watching the stream, Brian?
Yeah. What's up?
Can you see on my webcam? I just restarted it. There's a dead pixel on my cam or something.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll work it out. Things in summer, anything can happen.
No, I don't even know how that's possible on a stream to have a.
Well, it happens, man. It happens. Kev's got a dead pixel. Welcome to the dead pixel family, Kev. I've got a dead webcam. I think I dropped it and it's like got this massive crack. Like I think it's got like a dead sector. So
yeah.
Yeah. The next GDDR6. Looking forward to it. Of course, faster speeds as long as we're not getting capped. As long as our wallets aren't getting.
We fixed it now.
Yeah. Well, as long as our wallets aren't getting murdered, then bring it on. Yeah. We got here now. This is pretty funny. We got Fallout 4, the high-res texture pack. Now, for the people out there, because I'm streaming at low bit rates, you're probably not going to see the difference. But this one, I will drop a link in the description below. It is pretty it's as if someone's just, instead of making it a HD texture pack, it's as if someone's just gone through with some sharpening filter. And just said, okay, we're gonna just sharpen things up a little bit. I notice a minuscule amount of extra sharpening, and that's it. I've got a sharpening filter on my freaking monitor. I can just turn the sharpening up on my monitor if I wanted this shit. Like it's 58 gigabytes or something like that. At the end of the day, it's not even worth it. So there's just so many examples here where they're just comparing them side by side, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, huh? Like what is the diff? What am I looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's 58 gigs big, so it can't just be sharpening.
No, it is, man. It's sharpening.
58 gigs worth of sharpening.
That's it, man. Just here's your sharpened package. It's a HD texture pack.
Yeah, I think this would be. I mean,
they should have put the saturation. They should have done something with the saturation too. Like, put in an S-curve. Oh, now it's got HDR. Da-ding. The HDR, HDR supersized texture pack with some Photoshop filters applied.
No, it is quite.
I'm not noticing.
If you look through the pictures, it's very subtle, isn't it?
Like for me, it just looks like again they've just up some sharpening. So I got that filter on my monitor. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Have you pixel peeped this? I mean, I might get onto pixel peeping it, but again, it just doesn't really warrant a download or a recommendation as of yet. I mean, if the guy did put a lot of work into it, I shouldn't be saying negative things. I mean, he probably put a lot of work into that, and I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that, but. I mean, but when you start a project, don't you sort of do a little bit and then get some feedback, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just do one little bit of the section and say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I would have said, hey, I don't notice much of a difference, man.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Yeah, you would just do a bit and then see how it goes and then go from there. But yeah, I mean, maybe these were just bad examples. Maybe there'll be something better. Yeah.
But
We'll just have to
onto
see.
some gaming news that I'm sort of really keen for. So, Pillars of Eternity 2. If you guys haven't played Pillars of Eternity 1, it's kind of like the, I guess the next lineup of games in that Baldur's Gate 2 sort of feel and play for a game like that. Sort of the Obsidian sort of turn-based. I love it. I absolutely love it. So they've got Pillars of Eternity 2. It's reached the funding goals in less than 24 hours, so people must have loved it. They love that style of gameplay. They're going to be making number 2 now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So really can't wait for that. That's pretty cool. And have you played
Yeah,
Pillars
no.
of Eternity? Or
No, I haven't.
Okay.
It also doesn't maybe seem so much like the
Well,
one.
it brings back
I
those
would
elements that a lot of games have seemed to just ignore or take away. Like, take, for example, World of Warcraft. When that first came out, it had so much customization. You would go to work or whatever on your lunch breaks, or you'd just be planning out your character. You'd be reading up builds. You'd be reading up how to be the best cookie cutter paladin, whatever it was. It brought excitement into the game. That's what it did. And then they just dumbed everything down because people bitched about, oh, this guy's got this build and I don't know, like, oh my god. Like, I really don't get it. Like, you've just taken that element away that made video games fun. It made them different. You know, like if I want to dumb down sports, I'd just freaking go out and play rugby league or whatever, you know? No, but like, you know, you get into this stuff to just use your brain. That's it. All you're doing with video games a lot of time, you're using your brain. And why dumb that down? Why dumb down things that require you to use your brain? I mean, a little bit of a rant, but but basically with Pillars of Eternity, they're not taking that away. They're bringing that back. They're bringing back the customization. They're bringing back that goodness that was in the original games. And so you need to actually think about how you're going to plan out your character, how you're going to plan out your build, whatnot. It's awesome stuff. So much like I like Heroes of Might and Magic. I'm a big fan of that franchise. So, you know, you plan out your battlefield, you plan out your turns and your moves and stuff like that. It requires thinking. So good stuff. So that'll hit the gaming scene soon enough. Maybe not soon enough. It's obviously they're going to make a whole new game, so that's going to take a while. But guys, get your questions ready. I am going to head over to the forums where some people ask some questions. So if you want to go ask questions, guys, head over to techcity.tv/forum, sign up. There's if you can't get your questions in on the live stream, then you can certainly chuck them in on the forum, and we'll answer them at the end of the show. And so there's a new episode coming now. That's the last question there. So is there a new episode today? Yes, today, not one day, because internet busted out. Then we got the first question here. He's Davey B. Thanks for the question. He's got would an X5650 bottleneck something like a 980 or any card around that price point of £200? Like, I think he's thinking of RX 470 as well, RX 480, or should he wait for Vega? And the 5650, that's the Xeon Nalum lineup of CPUs. Fantastic CPU. I mean, especially, you didn't say he was overclocking it, but if you're overclocking that thing, especially over 4 gigahertz, it's going to be absolutely fine with a 980, RX 480, RX 470. Fantastic CPU for the money. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite CPUs. That thing's going to handle those cards. Even a GTX 1070 at high, 1440p, you're not going to experience any problems. Really good CPU. Obviously, you want the best performance, you're going to have to pay, 7700K max overclocks if you're going really high refresh rates, but awesome CPU. And then he said we should get Enterprise. This is interesting. We should get Windows 10 Enterprise for the benchmark rigs. Apparently it gets rid of all the awful apps bundled with it. Have you heard of that, Kev?
No.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm optimizing Win 10, taking away all the crap, and it does make a little bit of a difference, so that's good news. But yeah, that's a good question. So we've got here
That's interesting.
Extreme Cookie. He has an E5 2670 and 7080 SLI. Should he go for a 3930K, 4930K, or a used Fury Nano X? Personally, the E5 2670, it should be good. I mean, if you're just using one, I'd probably change the GPU setup because the 780 SLI is going to be terrible in a lot of situations. So I'd probably pick up a Fury. Yeah, I'd pick up a Fury.
Yeah,
What would you
I
do?
mean, Fury would be just fine. Yeah, that would be a good. Yeah, I think yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, the Fury would be just fine. You could get the Fury X, but honestly, those air-cooled Furies are still great cards, and you can probably get it for a lot cheaper. So that'd probably be the ticket.
Yeah. We got here, why is no one buying HD 5970s on budget builds? Like I said, we actually read this just before live stream. I was like, isn't that the dual-based card, the dual GPU on one card? Legacy, 2 GPUs, don't, you know, it's gone now. Driver support's completely gone, and then you got 2 GPUs to deal with. So I'd avoid it, personally. Aussie Talks Hardware actually did a build where he used old legacy SLI. It was SLI, it wasn't Crossfire cards, but yeah, it just did perform terribly. So he's sort of like, maybe that video serves as an example of maybe not to go with legacy cards in dual GPU config. So also, this is where Greenham goes in Sydney. Okay, Greenham Gaming goes to au.webuy.com. Okay. I met with him at Christmas. We actually met up in real life. He's really cool. I really get along with Greenham. He's really awesome. We didn't have enough time to shoot anything, but we did talk about things. So when if we do a collab in the future, it's definitely going to be awesome for you guys. We want to make it so it's Greenham. He's got Tim more specifically. He's got a very high sort of. He's got this. What would you call it? Like every video he makes, he wants it to be perfection, and if it's not, then
a high standard.
Yeah, he's got a really high, and it's a really good thing. That's why his channel's got so many subscribers. That's why every video he makes has so many views. He's just got such a high standard, and it's really good. I admire that. I really do. Some of my videos like come out like, oh god, I shouldn't have done that. So, but yeah, let's move on to the questions now for you guys. Okay, so we've got it's going off in the chain here. So I've sort of my face is going to be turned this way when I'm reading a question. But Kev, have you picked up any questions? You want to?
Just another one on the forum post up the top. That was quite interesting. The guy's 7950 had a busted cooler. It looks like he's cable tied some looks like 120mm case fans onto the cooler, onto the heat sink.
Oh, that's boss, isn't it?
Yeah. So he said, what should I go with? What card should I get to go with the X5650? Yeah, I mean, if you're coming from a 7950, I would say any of the, like a 1060 would be a good upgrade, for sure. RX 480 as well.
Yeah, Fury, even a Fury. I mean, Fury's going pretty cheap.
Yeah, Fury.
So.
I was speaking more if you wanted to go brand new, but yeah, if you wanted to go something secondhand, then a Fury would be a good upgrade, or GTX 1080, 980 would be quite good also. So yeah, you have quite a bit of choice there, but yeah, that's quite interesting to see.
Yeah. So got to ask the question: when's Junicron? That's coming. It's coming. Yeah. It's not. It's getting resurrected. It's coming. We're actually trying to look into doing something really special, like getting the case fitted with custom decals and all that. So. And do a build featuring an RX 460. Interesting. I was going to do a video where I did want to do a build, but I also wanted to unlock it and see how much extra performance you get from unlocking it. So, because apparently I have one of the models that can be unlocked. So, if you delid the 7700K, next question, do you lose your warranty? Yes, you would lose.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
You lose your warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is mine was a review sample, so there's no warranty per se anyway. I've actually got to ship it back, I think. So I've got to get into contact. So here's your CPU back. I mean, it came pre-bent, like I said on Twitter. I was replying. Linus apparently got one. He showed a picture of a bent CPU. I got one that was pre-bent. Like the corners, all the 4 corners were bent. Like whoever tested it at their headquarters. Put too much pressure on, and that's this is the PCB so thin, you put a bit of extra pressure on even the pins, like those pins on the motherboards, they're so weak. Even the pins are out strength, well, they've got more strength than the PCB on the CPU, which is pretty pathetic. So because CPU still worked, after I bent it back. So I was pretty shocked, But yeah, you will lose your warranty on your D-lid.
Yeah.
Did lose your guarantee, yeah. So, so with 16 gigs of RAM, a GTX 950 and a i3-6100 be good for gaming. Would be okay. You don't really need 16 gigabytes of RAM.
The 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're putting money into that over like a 960 versus a 950.
Yeah, but just 8 will do you fine. And try get the better. That CPU is just fine. But yeah, maybe try get a slightly better GPU if you can.
But keep in mind though, 16 will become the new norm. Like, you know.
Oh, it will. Yeah, it certainly will. I mean, but for right now, you know, if you want to be super future-proof, then yeah, go with 16. But if you're doing a budget build, then that's probably not what you're looking at. So, yeah, something like that would be fine.
Okay, we got here. Have either of you had any problems with an i5-2400 and GTA 5 stuttering? Steve from Gamers Nexus was talking about. Okay, I tried an i3-550, which would be a weaker CPU than an i5-2400. Now, I did get stuttering when I had 4 gigabytes of RAM. I put in an extra 4 gigabytes, and there was no longer any stuttering. So, how much memory are you using? What sort of background apps have you got open? Look into optimization and stuff like that. But what kind of stuttering are we talking about? Are we talking about very sort of OCD micro stutter, or clearly noticeable stutter? That would be the question to look at there. Of course, you do get some weird things going on with different motherboards, and maybe you have to update the microcode on the BIOS update. That's something to look at too. A few different things. I have to look into it more. But again, time. It all takes time. Really takes time.
Yeah.
So
one question that was quite interesting: 3 gig 1060 or 4 gig RX 480. So that is about the question of the century right now, because everybody's debating that. If it was me personally, given how good the AMD drivers have been in terms of improvements, I would probably go for the RX 480. I would feel like that would be the better choice.
What's this for? Sorry, what's this for?
If you had to pick out of a 3 gig GTX 1060 or a 4 gig RX 480.
I'd pick the 4 gig now after doing those tests with the 7950 versus the 2 gigabyte 770. Well, it's mainly because of that extra gigabyte of VRAM, to be honest. That's actually a huge factor. Like, I mean, 3 gigabytes is fine at the moment, though. What in another... You're buying a 1060, you want it to last for probably 2-3 years, right? So 2 years, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that 3 gigabytes mainly not being enough for high settings or even medium settings in some games, which is sad, because that Dishonored 2, for example, I don't know if you saw in the benchmark PC video, but that was stuttering like... It was insanely bad. And the 7950 breezed through it on high settings. I mean, it wasn't exactly the best experience on the 7950, but it was leaps and bounds ahead of the 770, which only had 2 gigabytes of VRAM. So I'd just say we'll go with the 480 because it's got that extra gigabyte there, which is, the speed-wise, they're both relatively the same, but it's that extra gigabyte of VRAM really is a good selling point at this stage. So
yeah, exactly right. And it's good to get a good model as well if you can. The reference 480 doesn't have as bad of problems as, say, the reference 290s, 290Xs.
It's still bad.
However, it's not ideal. Yeah. That's the way I would put it. So yeah, definitely try go non-reference if you can afford it, because that's going to work out a lot better. But if you cannot, it's not the end of the world. The 290Xs were just ridiculous with the reference cooler was just, oh boy. So try if you can to get non-reference, but if you can't, then the reference will still be okay, but overclocking and stuff might be a bit more of
someone's asking if this monitor is a QNX. It's the same panel, it's just got a scaler in it, so you can't overclock it. I did have I've got the Korean monitors, which do these other Korean monitors. They're the Acer replicas, but they went up to 66 hertz, so I got a 10% overclock out of it. And that was legit. So if they've got no scaler in them, you can overclock them. But if they got a scaler in them, you're shit out of luck. So for those monitors, and you've also got to use the right settings too. If you don't have the right settings plugged in, you'll get a fake refresh rate coming out that's not actually real. So there's also got asked a 980 Ti or a 1070. Now, honestly, it's not such a big deal. Yeah, I mean, whatever's if one's coming in, you know, for instance, if you can get a 980 Ti for 300, I saw them going out, like people were just offloading those things for like 300 USD when they first, and 1070 came out for like 400 and something dollars, easily a 980 Ti in that situation. But now, as if the price gap's virtually the same, then there's not such a massive difference to make you go one or the other.
I'd have to look back. Like, it would be a good thing for me to, if it was possible at some point, to do a retest of it. But if you are very curious about a full test, that link I just posted in chat was my showdown between the 980 Ti and the 1070. It's a good video of mine. It's got about 113,000 views. Yeah. And I went over every just like I do with all my showdowns, noise, temps, the frames, everything, all the features, and everything else like that. And I basically said that it does come down to price. So that's something you really do need to look at. But if you, the 1070 is a newer card.
Yeah. In
every sense, all the new features, everything else. But the 980 Ti put up a hell of a fight in terms of performance. It still did a damn good job, and a lot of the tests, I mean, they were neck and neck. Like
for me,
3D
it beat
Mark
it though.
V Strike. Yeah, 3D Mark V Strike at 4K were exactly neck and neck. Only the 980 Ti won by 0.4 FPS, and other benchmarks followed a similar sort of thing of them being quite close together. So and this was back when the 1070 was very new, so the drivers hadn't very matured at all. So I'd say this has probably become, so yeah, just look, whatever's, if you're someone who just doesn't care about the features or any of that stuff, and you just care purely about performance, and in that scenario, I would just go with whatever one you can get cheaper.
Yeah. There's also, someone said, well, Canada's dollar's about on par with Australian dollar. Do I look for deals in Canada? No, I only look for deals locally usually because of postage, and you get some really good deals. I mean, I did get hosed from this R9 280X, but if that guy's watching, or if someone knows this guy who sold that on the coast, I'm coming for you, buddy. I'm coming for you. I'm getting my money back. I hate scamming, man. It's it's so dodgy. Why? It's $100 and you've got to what? Just swindle someone out of $100. Now, I'm like, for me, it's okay, right? I can absorb the damage. But what if that was someone who was building, they were on a budget, they were strictly on a budget, they're young, whatever, they're really looking forward to building a gaming PC, and you say the part's working, you're like, oh, it's perfectly working, and they get it and they got hosed. I mean, it's a joke, man. It's really bad. You can crush someone's sort of dreams in ways, So it's terrible. I hate that practice. I really despise scamming. I think it's disgusting. I might even go to the police, see what they can do, but apparently it's a civil dispute because you can just say it's he say, she say bullshit. But I did screenshot though. I did screenshot the ad, so I do have the wording in the ad. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's just, I hate it, man. I hate getting scammed. But as for deals, if I'm locally in a place, I will hunt for deals in that place. Japan was a gold mine. I love Japan. Australia, like the Gold Coast, has been awesome. Where I live at the moment, been awesome for deals. I really have picked up some insane deals here, that even better Japan's deals on some things. I did over Christmas. It sort of opened my eyes when we went on this trip. I got to make a video on that, actually. I got a heap of footage. I just got to do the voiceover. But went to New Caledonia and Vanuatu, and in Vanuatu there's just nothing at all. Like, don't even bother. Like, if you have to build a PC there, you'd want to get it imported. I don't know the import laws, but New Caledonia was sort of like this French island, and they had one computer store that apparently had tech, but they just closed whenever they want. So they were closed on the day when we were there. I was like, okay, cool, because we're going to get a taxi and go all the way up there. I was like, no, they're closed. We called them up, made sure, and like, no, they're actually closed today. I was like, okay, cool, just a random weekday, we're just closing down. It's not open today. So the state of tech in some countries is so bad, it makes you feel like we really are privileged to be in, you know, like even in New Zealand, you'd have it much better than, say, for instance, New Caledonia. So,
Bro, it's not even on another. The two aren't even comparable. There's like probably I don't know how many thousands of tech stores. Thousands of tech
probably
stores.
group them in the same league, you know.
Yeah, always trying to, you know, demean us,
Yeah.
but you know, only one country can keep beating you in rugby. So.
Oh, well, there he is.
No, I saw someone was saying they got a deal. Where was it?
Okay. Wait, we're going to wrap up the show pretty soon because
yeah.
I'm going to go
280X.
Okay, well, I'm going to go overclock
$140.
at the gym, bruh. So yeah,
so
so
sounds good, man.
thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope Kev's audio was a lot better this week. I mean, I watched the feedback, I watched playback. It was pretty unbearable. I turned up the V motors to
Yeah,
here.
I'm sorry, guys. I thought the settings I was running it at were the same as we had done previously because we tried to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
And the problem was actually, it seems to be with the Yeti itself rather than something I was doing or something Brian was doing. And obviously changing now to the Siren, that should have alleviated the problem entirely.
Yeah, there's still that echo in the room, but hopefully you can fix that in due time. So that's yeah. Well, we're gonna get Kev's A game on for his audio because you guys deserve it in the audience, and we'll catch you guys next week. And be sure to hit up the forums if you want to ask any questions during the week. It's easy to sign up. There's a discussion thread here, Tech Lounge questions for the live show. Drop the questions in. We'll read them at the start of the Q&A every week for you guys.
Yep.
And I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and there'll be more tech videos coming this week. I'll catch you guys next time. Check out Kev's channel too. Links in the description. Any last words for the viewers, Kev?
No, just yeah. Thanks guys. I still love doing all these shows. It's really fun. And yeah, I'll be putting up a power supply unboxing very soon. So if you're keen to see a Thermaltake power supply, because I did the RGB one the other day, and that was quite
an
interesting.
RGB power supply.
So I'll be doing that very soon. Yeah, it's becoming a thing now. Of course.
Shit, I've seen everything.
Obviously, it's just one of their Thermaltake ring RGB fans. You know, the ones they brought out a little while ago. It's just one of those in the power supply. So you basically would have to run it up for people to see the RGB. But hey,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, cool. Anyway, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out for now.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.